Not too long ago, I talked about the candy-ass Tucker Carlson for being a candy-ass Donald Trump supporter, but now he's really stepped it up. Like, really stepped it up. Trying to attempt to mock liberals for wailing, his words, wailing over the retirement of Dr. Anthony Fauci. Now, now it's not just Carlson, but honestly, all the Republicans out there are screaming at him, screaming at their voices raw, trying to destroy Fauci and destroy liberals and destroy Democrats, saying that we're crying over the loss of Dr. Fauci when he's retiring. His comments came after Fauci announced he's stepping down in his roles at the end of the year after decades serving 7 presidents of this country and multiple infectious disease threats, including the AIDS, HIV epidemic, West Nile, bird flu, and yes, the pet peeve that everyone is angry about, COVID-19. Now I'm going to play you just a small sampling of what this bastard had to say.
Carlson, imagine the pandemonium at SoulCycle Studios across the Northeast this morning when Tony Fauci announced his retirement. Ugly doesn't begin to describe it. Picture the chaos, if you can, in the organic chaga aisle at Whole Foods in Brookline. Try to envision the panic and hysteria that must have broken out at espresso bars in Edgartown, in Aspen, in Santa Monica, and Bethesda, as thousands of masked ladies in Lululemon discovered all at once that the one religious leader they still revered, their own even tinier version of the Dalai Lama, had decided to retreat forever from public life. It was, ladies and gentlemen, the equivalent of a targeted nuclear device detonated over the most emotionally vulnerable elements of our most privileged population. You can picture the carnage, the wailing, the swooning, manicured hands clutched to breasts, then fumbling for Xanax and expensive handbags. Not since the Orange Man seized the White House in a Russian coup have more 46-year-old Cornell-educated lawyers with weak husbands wept shamelessly in public. There's not enough rosé in Napa to quell that pain. And it wasn't supposed to be this way. It never is supposed to be this way. Just a month ago, St. Tony suggested to his followers he'd be around another 2 years, at least, living at public expense as the highest paid federal employee till the end of Joe Biden's first, but hopefully not last term. And you know what that meant? It meant many more spreads in Teen Vogue, many more interviews on NPR, many more tips on masking. Is 3 enough? And of course, more vital guidance on how to celebrate the holidays. Which relatives should we ban from Thanksgiving this year? Dr. Fauci will know. Oh, but not anymore. That's all gone. He's sitting masked at Brian Stelter's house, watching Chris Hayes tonight. Because this morning, Tony Fauci announced his abdication. Quote, "I will be leaving these positions," there was always more than one, "I'll be leaving these positions in December of this year to pursue my next chapter of my career," he said. The next chapter of his career? He's only 81. Some of us had hoped he'd be around another 40 years. But he's leaving so soon, too soon. Why? What's going on here? You hate to think politics could affect Tony Fauci's judgment as a scientist. They never have before. But is it possible this thoroughly nonpartisan man of medicine has thought about what might happen in November when the Republican Congress takes over? Does he believe that could be bad news for him? Well, yes, it is possible he believes that. Because on some level, even Tony Fauci knows that Tony Fauci is in fact a dangerous fraud. A man who has done things that in most countries, at most times in history, would be understood perfectly clearly to be very serious crimes. So it's possible that Tony Fauci might want to resign before he has to explain all of that to a new Congress. He might want to get out of town now and move to, say, Cambridge. Find a safe place to hide before the reckoning. Just a thought. Because honestly, there's a lot to answer for. In just the last 2 years, Fauci has recommended treatments and preventative measures for COVID that not only didn't work, but that he knew didn't work. He admitted to the New York Times that he lied about herd immunity in order to sell more vaccines, which also didn't work, which weren't even actually vaccines, but that did hurt a lot of people, tens of thousands. Then he lied about masks publicly. You should wear one as you're riding a bike. You're getting too much life-enhancing oxygen. What you really need is more carbon dioxide. Be more like a tree. That's what he was saying in public. But in private, he wrote that, quote, the typical mask you buy at a drugstore is not really effective at keeping out a virus. Oh, so he knew. As your kids were suffocating during gym wearing a mask, Tony Fauci knew they didn't work. And then there's this, maybe his most notable crime. He didn't simply downplay and obfuscate the origins of the pandemic, apparently in conjunction with the Chinese government. No. Tony Fauci covered up evidence that he, Tony Fauci, helped create that virus in the first place. Here's Tony Fauci last July testifying under oath before the Congress.
Dr. Fauci, knowing that it is a crime to lie to Congress, do you wish to retract your statement of May 11th where you claimed that the NIH never funded gain-of-function research in Wuhan?
Senator Paul, I have never lied before the Congress, and I do not retract that statement. This paper that you are referring to was judged by qualified staff up and down the chain as not being gain of function.
So let me finish. You take an animal virus and you increase its transmissibility to humans.
Right.
You're saying that's not gain of function?
Yeah, that is correct. And Senator Paul, you do not know what you are talking about, quite frankly.
Oh, Dr. Fauci meets an actual doctor who's not a BS artist who asks simple questions and demands straightforward answers. Tony Fauci was lying in that clip. He knew he was lying.
Wow. Just wow. Now this asshole, this candy ass Carlson thinks that we look at Fauci as some kind of religious leader, referring to at Fauci at one point, even tender version of the Dalai Lama. Seriously? Seriously. He went on to say that liberals supposedly wringing their hands over Fauci leaving, his retirement, compromising by the wealth of elites were often fumbling over Xanax and expensive handbags? What? What the hell are you talking about, Carlson? Even took aim at liberals for their disdain for Donald Trump, who habitually undermined COVID-19 in responses to save lives. Now you can blame Fauci all you want, but we all know the source of what happened during the COVID-19 pandemic, who really cost the lives of hundreds of thousands of people in this country, Donald Trump. Now, Fauci gave him the facts. Trump went out there and made his own facts, even contradicting him and other scientific experts. Quite honestly, Tucker, I really don't know, and I don't really care anymore why you're doing this. Maybe you're doing it for the money because you think, obviously you know that your audiences are easy marks. Maybe you're doing it because if you just used a tiny bit of that black hole you call a brain, maybe you might suffer a brain aneurysm. Not that I'm wishing death on you. No. I'm saying for the simple fact that maybe if you actually used your brain, used your mind, other than spouting off bullshit, maybe, just maybe, we can see you for the more than just a television personality, more than just a right-wing hate trading bastard. But you're not going to do that, Carlson. You see, the main difference between people like you and people like all those red hat bastards out there, and yes, even the asshole who wanted to fight me and possibly even kill me for Donald Trump, the difference is I never put any politician on any kind of pedestal. Not even one of the Bushes, not Clinton, not Barack Obama, not Joe Biden. The only people who put any politicians on a pedestal were people like you. People like you who saw Donald Trump as the re-rising of the New South, or whatever the fuck you guys think he is. I never held Anthony Fauci out to be a deity or a god or a Gandhi, as you said in your little tirade there. I listen to him because he knows more than I do when it comes to infectious diseases. We'd be idiots not to listen to him. And obviously, you're one of those idiots, Tucker. And a lot of those idiots out there who wear the red hats, who say, I'm not going to wear a mask. The people who are celebrating Roe v. Wade being taken away, you're the ones who put Donald Trump on that pedestal, who are putting every Republican on that pedestal, who are putting American politicians on that pedestal. I never did. As I said earlier, I never put any politicians on there. And more to the point, I hold them responsible. I question every single decision they make. And I ask questions on the fact, based on facts. Now, we asked the facts of Dr. Fauci. He gave us the facts. The person who was contradicting those facts was Donald Trump. And to be honest with you, because you people like you ignore the facts, it's a miracle, a blessed miracle that you're still alive right now, Carlson. And a lot of the red hat American bastards out there who say, I ain't wearing a mask, I ain't getting vaccinated, blah, 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 they're dead. And they die. And the worst possible thing is that all of them die saying, man, I wish I had listened to Fauci. Man, I wish I wore a mask. Man, I wish I got vaccinated. But back to the original point for you, Carlson. The fact is, you think that we hold Democrat politicians or those who support them or those who work for them, like Fauci, who served both sides of the aisle, Democrats and Republicans, in his career. We never held him up to a pedestal. I have respect for the man for who he is and what he's done for this country. It's just too fucking bad that people like you have no respect for the people who work in this country. The only person you respected was Donald Trump, and his ass is going to prison, but that's a video for later on. Carlson, you can make fun of us all you fucking want, but in the end of the day, in the final analysis, all you're doing is making yourself look like the candy ass we already know you are. But I'm loving it. I'm entertained by it. But what I'm not entertained by is when you put lives at risk. That's where you cross that line. You cross that line so many times, it's not even funny. And remember, those lawsuits are still pending against Fox News. And don't think you're not going to pay for them, too. Ooh, Carlson. Let's see your candy ass talk now when you're writing a huge ass check for the shit you've done. CTP, you know the truth. God bless. Peace to the left, justice to the right.